Good morning. My name is Dr. Hillel Mazansky, and I specialize in medical hypnotherapy, guided visualization, nutrition, and exercise. My website being www.gianinc.com. Today's health tip is entitled A Broken Heart, in inverted commas or parentheses. Yesterday we discussed the anatomy and physiology of the brain. But due to time constraints, we did not touch on one of the most important functions of the brain, and that is the psyche, or the emotion, whether positive or negative. In eons ago, the physicians thought that the psyche was related to the heart, and when one suffered grief, distress, upset, they said you had a broken heart. And that is still used today, that saying. When one loses a dear one, whether to death or for other reasons, he broke my heart or she broke my heart. Well, it's not in the heart that's broken. What is abnormal is in the psyche. With anatomy and physiology of the brain, that is tangible. However, the psyche or the emotions, both positive or negative, are intangible. And that part of the brain that deals with that is in the mind. So one should rather say, my mind is broken rather than my heart is broken, but we don't use that colloquialism. We say, he broke my heart, she broke my heart. In the mind, one suffers anxiety, stress, depression. These are what we call the neuroses. But the psychoses are the mental illness, such as schizophrenia or bipolar depression. Those are the psychoses. The neuroses are, as I mentioned previously, and that is housed in the brain. Stress is the cause of all one's physical and psychological illnesses or aberrations. From the mind, with chronic distress comes disease. And we know that it emanates from the mind because it works through a system called psychoneuroimmunology. When the psyche or the brain is intact, the neuro system, being the brain and the spinal cord, is normal. The immune system is high and one does not get disease. But when there is psychological issues, you can get problems such as chronic obesity, chronic pain, cancer, all diseases, fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome. These are all diseases and conditions that emanate from the mind, the intangible portion of the brain that cannot actually be quantified, like the physical and the neurological system can be evaluated. So in future, while we say he or she has a broken heart, it's not the heart that's broken. It comes from the brain, or particularly the mind, which is housed within the brain. One thought years ago that stress caused ulcers, until we found that it was not stress, but it was a bacteria. But where stress played a role in the ulcer is that it changed the milieu of the stomach lining, and the patients were given to develop the flare-up of the organism with a subsequent ulceration. High blood pressure is hypertension. In other words, you are extremely tense and hyper, leading to hypertension. Disease is actually dis-ease. You're at dis-ease with yourself, and therefore you develop disease. All of these come from the mind. Well, if they come from the mind, how can we treat it? Psychotherapy by a psychologist or a psychiatrist can help treat it. There are certain medications that one can use if necessary to treat anxiety and depression. But the main thing is to treat the mind with hypnosis and guided imagery, because you then come empowered to help yourself treat yourself with all these illnesses and conditions. And by practicing the hypnosis session twice a day, you become self-empowered, and often the dis-ease disappears and you do not suffer from a broken heart. My name is Dr. Hillel Mazansky, and I thank you for listening to the video.